Hi everyone, welcome back to Bridging the Pond. I'm Del.
And I'm Leslie.
And in the past you've heard us talk about how we've got either cheap or even free flights by using points. So we're back today to talk to you about how you can go ahead and do exactly the same thing.
Now, of course, we do know that the best way to save money on travel is with credit card points. But we've learned a lot over the past few years about how to earn the most points and get the best value for them. So in this video, we'd like to share with you some of the pros and cons of the different travel credit cards out on the market right now.
Absolutely, but we've got to start with a standard disclosure that we're not financial experts. This information is to the best of our knowledge and it's true as of today, 21st of July 2024. Make sure you do your own research though, and before you sign on any dotted line, make sure you got it right and it works for you.
And we're not sponsored at all, so this is again just our own personal perspective based on our own research and experience.
Absolutely.
To that point, like most things in life, there's going to be tips that are universally valuable. And then also there's going to be some things that are going to depend on your circumstances, your own spending habits, your own business setups, things like that. So what we're going to try to do is share enough details to help guide you in the right direction to make the decisions that are right for you.
Okay, so let's get into it. The first decision to make is if you want a card that provides airport lounge access, regardless of the airline on which you're traveling with. That narrows the options down to just 3. But if lounge access is not important to you, there are lots of other credit card options to explore.
For us, lounge access is actually really important because we do spend a lot of time in airports, and it ends up saving a lot of money on any food or beverage you might have spent in the airport, as well as just being a nicer experience to be in a lounge. So we're going to focus on the 3 main travel cards that offer lounge access and how you can maximize points with them. All 3 of these options allow each cardholder and authorized user to bring guests with them into the lounge. So that means that Della and I can actually bring 4 other people into the lounge with us. And that's just one of the reasons that our travel buddies love to travel with us.
Yeah, they do indeed. So, drum roll please.
Here are the 3 main options we'll be discussing.
First of all, we've got the American Express Platinum card.
The Capital One Venture X.
And bringing up the rear, the Chase Sapphire Reserve.
In addition to lounge access, Priority Pass, plus some other lounges depending on the credit card, all 3 of these cards do have a list of travel partners, airlines and hotels that you can transfer your points to. Each card has a good variety of airlines, with each able to cover our own travel needs fairly equally. But while there's a fair amount of overlap, if there is an airline or hotel that is especially important to you, you might want to double check that and their partnership before choosing the card.
Of course, all of these do require an excellent credit score. So if you're not quite there yet, then definitely focus on one of the less rigorous cousin cards and mooch your lounge access off a friend. It's like a boat. It's always better to have a friend with a boat.
This is true.
Same
this is true.
Access.
Unfortunately, we're the friend with the lounge access, aren't we?
Okay, so let's start with the top 3 reasons why we don't like the Amex Platinum. Let's just get that one out of the way.
Yeah, so many global locations do not accept any American Express cards due to their high vendor fees.
Yeah, it also has the highest annual fee at $695. Plus, for each additional card holder, that's going to cost you another $195 annually.
Yeah. And in addition to the high fees, it also has the most restrictive travel credits and points earning options that might offset those fees otherwise. So you only get 1 point per dollar on regular purchases, and then you only get bonuses if you're booking through their travel portal, which when we talk about the other options, you'll see that there are better options there. The travel statement credits only give you credit for fees on your chosen airline. So we wouldn't even be able to use that at all because we try to avoid fees. That's one way to save money, is not paying extra fees. And then they do offer credits for very specific vendors like Uber and Saks Fifth Avenue, which I find is fairly random. Honestly, I don't know why it's Saks Fifth Avenue. If you do use those vendors, maybe that would offset those high annual fees, but we certainly don't use them enough to make it worth it. And we feel like for the general public, it probably wouldn't be worth it for most people either.
So that leaves the Capital One Venture X and the Chase Sapphire Reserve. And we actually have both of those. So why? Well, let's do a side-by-side comparison to help explain it. Okay then, so for the rest of this video, I'm going to be the Capital One Venture X.
And I'm going to represent the Chase Sapphire Reserve. So let's start by talking about what each one costs.
All right, so the Capital One Venture X, the annual fee is a very reasonable $395 per year.
And the Chase Sapphire Reserve is $550 per year.
You're losing so far. All right, next section is the additional card members. With Capital One Venture X, it costs $0 for an extra card holder.
And Chase Sapphire Reserve is an extra $75 per card holder.
Loser so far.
So the winner is obviously Venture X. We actually have both because for us, it's ultimately cheaper after adding in the value of credits and things for Dell to have his own Venture X with me as an additional card holder than to have Dell as an additional card holder on my Sapphire Reserve.
Yeah, so the next section we looked at is annual travel credit bonus. Now with both cards, we get a $300 travel credit. With the Venture X, it's only redeemed through Capital One Travel Portal.
However, with the Sapphire Reserve, the first $300 of any travel or dining related spending is automatically credited back to your statement.
The next section is the annual extra points. With the Venture X, you get 10,000 extra points each year.
That's worth about $100.
Yeah.
So that's good. Chase Sapphire Reserve does not give you any extra points each year.
The next section is the statement cashback for select purchases. Now with Venture X, select vendors online through Capital One links only are redeemable for this.
Yeah, now with the Sapphire Reserve, we get more value there because, again, it's select vendors that you can opt in online for, but then any purchases you make are automatically given that percentage back to your statement. We've made over $138 in just everyday purchases at like Starbucks and gas stations through that program.
So now let's talk about the other vendor credits. With the Venture X, we don't get any.
Yeah, Sapphire Reserve does give us $15 a month credit back on Instacart purchases, which has been really nice for our grocery bill.
So now to one of our favorite sections, the global entry credit. With the Venture X, we get $100 back every 4 years, which is enough to buy one of us a free global entry pass.
And we get the same with the Sapphire Reserve.
We highly recommend global entry for speeding through TSA pre-check and avoiding those extra long lines at immigration when you're coming back into the US, and takes us no more than 2 or 3 minutes typically to get through those lines here in Orlando.
Definitely makes a difference after a long travel day. All 3 of these travel cards do offer the credit to cover global entry once every 4 years. Since Dell and I have 2 different travel cards though, both of our global entry fees would be credited. If we were on the same card, only one would be.
Yeah, it's not the main reason to have 2 cards though, but it does definitely help.
So overall, I think the win on this category goes to Sapphire Reserve. There's just more credits, it's easier to collect them, and it's easier to use them.
So now let's talk about points earnings. The basic earning rate. With the Venture X, we get 2 times points for every purchase.
Yeah. On the Sapphire Reserve, the basic earning rate is just 1-time points for each dollar.
And the premium for travel booked on the portal is a big yes with Venture X.
As well as Sapphire Reserve. And to be fair, Sapphire Reserve actually has a little bit more premium for booking through their portal, but there's a lot of variation, so I feel like that's fairly equal between the 2.
Now the downside with the Venture X is there's 0 premium category points that you can earn.
And one of the best things we like about the Sapphire Reserve is that we get 3 times points on all our dining and travel, which is actually like a large amount of our spending is dining and travel. So that to us is really a valuable way to earn extra points. And additionally, there are some additional vendor premiums like Lyft or Peloton, which we don't necessarily use as much, but it's a plus.
Now, the ability to combine points with other credit cards from that bank. So, with the Venture X, you may combine business and personal, but none have greater earnings than Venture X.
Now with the Sapphire Reserve, you can also combine business and personal, and we do actually have our business cards with Chase as well. And there are actually a lot of Chase options with bonus categories.
We also have the $0 annual fee Chase Freedom card that has a rotating category of 5 times points and 0 annual fee business cards for our businesses. We can transfer these points into our Sapphire Reserve account to take advantage of the higher redemption rate. So who's going to win this section then, Leslie?
I call it a tie.
I agree.
So for us, the combination of having the 2 cards really offers the maximum benefit because we use the Sapphire for travel and dining and the other Chase cards for any bonus categories they might have. And then we just use the Venture X for everything else. And so we're never really getting less than 2 points per dollar that we spend. So there are some additional side benefits such as rental car and travel emergency medical coverage, but both cards do offer versions of these benefits. I think the Sapphire Reserve is actually a little bit more comprehensive than the Venture X, but for us it's not really a deciding factor.
Similarly, the Venture X lounge access is slightly more inclusive, with access to Plaza Premium lounges in addition to the Priority Pass lounges. But to be honest, we find many more Priority Pass lounges scattered around the US than there are Plaza
and globally,
Premium.
not just the US.
True that.
But where does that land us then?
Well, it seems we're in a dead heat between them. To be honest, that's the reason we actually have both cards.
Yeah. Now, with that said, if you are just getting started, we do strongly recommend starting with the Capital One Venture X because it is much less expensive.
Indeed. So now we've talked about earning points. What's actually the best way to use them?
Well, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to see our next video where we're going to share how we get the best value for the points that we accrue and some of the things that we really wish we knew about using points before we got started on our points journey.
Yeah, our latest purchase with points is a trip that we've got planned for November 2024, where obviously we're going to take you along with us. This is actually going to be in Delta One, which is Delta's business class product. It's a lay flat bed. We're going to go from the USA to Brussels, and of course we're going to take you along with us for the ride. So stay tuned. As Leslie said, like, subscribe, and click that notification bell to see that trip. You won't want to miss that one.
But until next time,
Keep on traveling.